Today we will talk about data structure in R. As you can see on the screen, there are 6 categories of the data structure in R. First is vector. Second is metric. Metric is very similar with the data frame. We talked about it, right? But there are difference about the color, so that is the different data types. So I will talk it later more in detail, so don't worry about it. And there is a array data structure in R. So array has the multi-dimensional data set. So array is different from the metric and data frame, right? And lastly, there is a list of the data structure in RStudio. So when you look at the center figure of the data structure, we can check the more exact the data uh, type of each data structure. When you look at vector, vector is the two or more data elimination in vector. So for example, we can't make the integer vector or character vector like that. And in case of the metric, we already talked about data frame first, but that is very similar with the metric. But the only difference between them, in case the metric can have the same data type for each row and each column. That is the different things from data frame. We already generate data frame with the character vector and the integer vector. After hybriding them, mixture them, we can make a data frame. Of course, we can make data frame from the matrix, right? So I mean, data frame can have different data type as well as the same data type. So data frame can cover metric also, right? So my point is, if you summarize the data type in your Word file, we go to the categorized part, and then we can make the data structure at the end of the data part. All right, so you put the data type, this part, structure in R. All right, and then you can put some information. First is vector, right? So you don't need to color it. So you can put this vector. Second is the metric. Third one is the data frame. Last one, not last one, first one, array. And last one is list. Okay, so vector is the two or more data enumeration, right? With a single column, for example, right? In case of the metric, it is similar with the data frame, but with only same data types. For example, integer data type or character or string and so on. All right. But in case of data type, we already generate and make the data frame in a previous video with enough time, right? So it can cover the different data types per each normally columns, right? So my point is the data frame can't cover metric because data frame can have different or same data types for each column. But when you take a look big data in future, normal big data have each own data types per each column. For example, first column vector has their people first name or last name. The second column has the people's age, or third one has people's their uh, uh, appreciation and so on. So I mean, when you look at the big data, normally it has its own data type for each column. So in this case, we can control big data very efficiently when we make a data frame structure. All right, but sometimes metric is also very efficient, right? So don't worry about it. So array is the multi-dimensional data structure, including with the metric or data frame and so on. And maybe vector is the smaller than metric and data frame, right? And these are um, small, equal or smaller than array, right? And this one too. So we should know what is the relationship between each data structure as well as the grammar of each data structure. All right. So you should know, and we will compare them in practice in our studio. So don't worry about it. And list can include the remaining all data structure structure I mean flexibly, all right, flexibly, right? So I mean list can cover, right, remaining all data structure, all right, flexibly, all right? So you should know what is the hidden information of the each data structure, address the meaning and the grammar, and right. Okay, so uh, the the center figure is very easy for us to understand with the specific data. So in case of the vector, as I talked to you, numeric vector or character vector can be existed. In case of the metric, even though the metric is the larger than vector with a two dimension, but their data types are same per each metric. For example, first metric can have only integer variable. The second metric has only character data, right? But on the other hand, if you check the data frame has its own data type per each column. For example, first column has integer variable, right? Integer data. Second column has numeric, yeah, integer data. Third column has character, right? Character data, like that. Per each column has its own data type. So it is different from the metric, right? In case of array, array has multidimensional information, multidimensional. And in case of the list can have different data types, similar to the data frame, but the length can be also different. So it is more efficient for us. So when you look at this, the list can have a vector as well as metric and data frame. So that is the different point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are main data structure in R. In case of TS and vector, we will cover later because of that is related with the string or the classification concept and so on. So I will uh, I will do it later with the example. So don't worry about it. And if you want to select some or a single data in each data structure, we can use the index with the subscription such as the I or J. So even though there is a vector in our studio, but we want to select the filter, the center data only, we can get the data with the index grammar and the subscript I. If we want to get the single data in metric, we can use the two subscript such as the I and J. So if we consider the I equal to 2 and J equal to 2, that is the 2, 2, that means we can select this information, all right? 2, 1, all right? And in case of the array is a multidimensional concept. So in this case, we need to consider three indexes. So I and J, of course, the K, all right? So we should know what is the grammar for filters past pick data. In case of the list, we can use the only single index, because if we use the single index, for example, I equal to 0, we can get this information. If we use the list index I equal to 2, we can select this vector right there. So we can use the single index when you use the list. In case of the data frame, so data frame is very similar with this, right? So in this case, we can also use the I for the row and the J for the column. So if we use the I and J simultaneously, we can select the specific data in ith row and jth column. All right. So please take further this slide with your cell phone, and every day and naturally you can check this portal in your phone album. After around a month, you can recognize and understand and memorize the all data structures and the grammar. All right, so you should know it. Okay, so today we will make a vector with the enough time in R Studio together. So please open your R Studio so you can search R Studio in magnifier and open it. And slowly we can put our explanation in this part. So you can exercise our command in console for a simple question. All right. So we can do it together, right? So when you open your R Studio on your laptop, maybe you can open your latest the R project name and your files and the comment console, right? So in this case, we can make a vector variable name x and assignments and vector generation function, that is a C, as I talked to you in previous video, right? And we can make in integer data type for that vector. So after that, we can check there is the vector, and vector has the integer data only, right? Or we can also make a vector like that. So when you check the result, we can make the 1 from 1 to 5. So as I talk to you, what is this? Colon. Colon is we can make the data from the front part, number to the ending part. So from 1 to 5, we can make the integer data for the vector. All right. So you can put your understanding in English and then copy and paste in your Word file with this capture. All right. For example, we can make our vector generation with C function. But what kind of vector? Integer, right? Integer vector generation. So that is the meaning of this comment. How about this? This is also the integer vector generation with C and the reserved word colon, right? So what is the colon? Colon, as I talk to you, we can make the big vector very easily and quickly by expressing the starting number, this part, and the ending part, right? So maybe you add the reserved words, the colon, at the end of part of your Word file. So that means we can make vector or consider the problem very easily with this reserved word. All right. In this case, we can generate data from the front part of colon to the end part of colon. All right. So you should know what's the meaning of the colon. All right. So we also use the colon in other problem for the consideration, the enumeration of the data. So yeah, we will talk about it with just past big example, so don't worry about it. All right. And all right, we will continue about this, and we can also make a vector like that. Sequence function hybrid. Alright, so in this case, alright, we can make the vector from number 1 to 10, but the interval is 2. So we can consider only the odd data or even data in the vector, right? So you should know how many ways to use the vector function C, and how can you make our each own vector properly. So sometimes we can use the C vector or with the colon or the hybrids with the sequence function, or we talk about the repetition function already. Sometimes we can use the repetition function as well as letter, capital letters or lowercase letters, right? So you can check the previous video if you want. Remember it one more, all right? So in this case, we can repeat from from 3 to 5 2 times, but I omit the bracket. So in this case, I can find the latest comment, and then I can use this one. Wait for a moment. One is pacted, maybe. Wait. 1, 2, 1, 2, right? 1. Okay, I can use the C function and repetition, right? And inside of the repetition function, I want to repeat from 3 to 5. Sorry, 3 to 5, right? 3 to 4, 5, and 2 times, right? So, and then in this case, I can make the vector with the 2 times repetition from 3 to 5. So 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So that is different, right? So you should compare this comment and this comment. What is different? I have a mistake, but in this case, I can make another type of the vector too, from 5 to 5 and only 2, right? So different point is if you put comma 2 inside of the repetition for the parameter, second parameter of the repetition function, I can repeat the front part with this number, right? But if I put the comma and number after close of the repetition function, we can only consider this data in vector element. So that is different, right? So this is also integer vector generation with C and sequence, right? So with the hybrid of sequence and C, we can consider specific data patterns flexibly. All right. Sometimes odd data only or even data only, right? Specific patterns of the interval, right? Okay. In case of this comment, this is also integer vector generation with C and repetition function, all right? with the hybrid of repetition function and see we can repeat we can repeat some data partial data partial data parts. Right, we can repeat the partial data parts. All right, flexibly. Right, that is similar sentence, but we need to put each meaning in this table for deep understanding. All right, okay, and all right. In case of the vector, normally can use the same data, but how about this? Right? Oh. Yeah, in this case, even though we intended to make the the non-homogeneous, the different data types vector, but when you check the vector function, we can check the all elements are string, similar to last one, right? So that is the automate part of the programming concept. In most programming language, the interpreter or compiler make the data type internally from small one to the larger one comprehensively for the use the memory efficiently. So that explanation is out of this lecture, but shortly I will talk about it. So the string is the largest the data type, then the integer and float parts. So internally, our interpreter the first to convert from the integer data type to the string. Okay, so yeah, how about this X and assignment and this one? Please imagine the reader. Yeah, in this case, the float data type is the larger than the integer because of the dots and the numbers after that part. So normally the float data types needed more larger memory space than integer to store the front part of dots, after parts, the ending part of the dots. So that's numbers are larger than the single numeric, right? So the float needs to have the more larger space of the memory. So after this comment, our interpreter internally first to transform from the integer variable to float. All right. So if you put your understanding in this table, we can explain like that. All right. Not integer, the string. All right. Only vector generation with the complete comprehensive data types from small data type to types to large data types. All right. For example, in this case, float and integer, internally change it to string. All right. How about this? That is also vector generation with the comprehensive data type from small one to large data one. In this case, float. The integer is smaller than float, so you can check it. Okay, so you can make your own table, and then after exercise or with exercise, and you can copy and paste here. Where? Yeah. In this part. All right. So, right. Oh. If you want to put the folder clearly, you can paste in this in this application, and then copy and paste here. In this case, you can paste your figure clearly. All right. So vector. So two or more data enumeration with a single column. We can use the R comments with the various ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you should exercise all cases with another parameters also, and you can paste your all traces at the end of the part of the Word file. Alright, so for example, I can put my RStudio screen and print screen, and then paste here. I can put the working date and vector generation with various ways. Then paste here. Alright, then you can paste more cases and put your understanding or explanation. Okay, like that. And if you want to check the C function, you can put the C on console and F1, but if you did not find the automatic the box, you can find the C function like that in help. Right. Can't find here too. No, in this case, data frames related information on it. My computer is not working here, but you can find it. Alright, in this case, you can use the Google. It is also another way to learn about it. Alright, so yeah. So vector is a one-dimensional array used to store collection data of the same mode. Alright, the key point is the same mode, right? So numeric vectors, complex vectors, logical vectors. We did not exercise this part because we have limited time of the video and the lecture. So if you want, you can do it all by yourself, alright? or we can cover them with the specific examples later, so don't worry about it. Alright? Anyway, vectors can have numeric vectors, complex vectors, logical vectors, and character vector, or text string. Alright? And vector, as I talked to you, has this figure. In case of the numeric vectors, we can put the vector, a value to a vector with one element. That is also vector too, right? And we can also use the assign function to make a vector with the float data, right? Yeah, these are very easy examples. We can use the C function, so we can assign 4 values to a vector using concatenate the comments C, okay? Concatenate, and shows the value in the screen, all right? And we can also use the operator, and then we can also consider sequence concept as I talked to you. So generate a sequence from 2 to 10 using colon. All right. So as I talked to you, the front part is the starting point. The ending part is the stop. Okay. So of course, the starting point can be larger than ending part. Don't worry about it. All right. And of course, we can use the from and to parameter name for the input value of the sequence function. So in this case, we can generate sequence from the variable number 1 to number 2. Yeah, by the interval 3. All right. So in this case, we can make the vector from number 2 to 10 with the interval 3. All right. So that is the same comments and grammar with this. Of course, we can also the length parameter for the sequence function. So we can consider the vector length with the 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And from 1, and the interval is 3. All right? Okay. And if you want to know about the sequence function, you can put the sequence in console, and then automatically, if you check the definition with the alert, the box, and then if you put the F1, or yeah, of course, you can use the help function with the specific function name. All right. Okay. And we can also generate the vector with the repetition function. So if you put the repeat function with the specific parameter, and we can make the vector with the repetition with the second parameter, as I talked to you. So we already make the single vector, and if you want to repeat this vector with the times 3, we can make this vector 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. All right. And finally, and we can also make the another type of the vector with the repetition function. If we want to, each element with the repetition, we can use the each parameter for the second input for repetition. So in this case, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3 vectors can be generated. All right. Yeah. The remaining part is up to you. So if you want to uh, exercise this part, you can do it all by yourself. All right. And we can also make logical vectors sometimes, um, including only false and true types. So we can make this. Yeah, of course, for that, we consider uh, a first vector, and then after consider the condition, we can generally make the vector like that. All right, and we can also uh, select the proper element with this reserved word, that is the square bracket, and index, that is the index part, similar to the I or J or K. These subscriptions, so you can check the proper element only using this grammar. And if we consider the condition, comparison operator, we can also get the proper element too, right? And we can also make character vectors too. Yeah. So that is the string or sentence, but the another name is the character vector. All right. So we can make character vectors with this grammar too. So you can do it all by yourself. And we can also concatenate vectors after converting them into character vectors. So after assign each float to each variable, and then we can concatenate an x and y, x, y, and a string use paste. So after paste function, we can make our another single vector, character vector, using this grammar. All right. So that is the vector part of this site. So you can refer this site for the exercise all by yourself, and then you can paste your trace at the end of the part of the Word file. All right. Okay. So we do it and index. As I talk to you in this site shortly, for example, this, that is the reserved word, right? The name is index. Index. What is the index? We can use the index to specify data at a specific location. That is the key point. At a specific location in vector or metric and so on. I mean in saved data, right? So if you want to use the index, first you should put your variable name, and then you can start the square blanket and close the square blanket. For example, if you generate the vector with this comment, but if, and then you want to select the data in the this place, what is the result? We can do it together. Right. Example, right? We can make the vector 5, 10, 15, and yeah. So that is the first element, the second one. So 5 elements, yeah. is the result. How about this? Yeah. What is the mean? Yeah, from 2 to 4 elements, right? So from 2, 4 elements were occurred in the result, right? And how about this? Yeah, in this case, the second element was deleted with minus index. All right. And how about this? Yeah. Yeah. In this case, the last vector has only 3 elements, right? But after this comment, we delete from 1 to 2. So only 15 elements are here, right? So you should put your explanation in English similar to me in the previous page like that. And then you can copy and paste the proper place of your Word file. So you go to the front part, all right, then you can paste. So you go to the front part, all right, yeah, this part, stop, yeah. Then you can paste here, the image of the first, oh my god, yeah, so you can this one, then paste the application and paste here like that. Okay, so you should feel the meaning and your understanding all by yourself. The format is free, so don't worry. Okay. Yeah, and we can save graph result using our studio menu. For saving image file, we can click plot and export and save image. Or we can save a PDF file with the plot, export, save plot with the PDF. So you can do it all by yourself using 3 commands. You can save your own figure like that. And then you can also put your trace in Word file similar to me, and then you can do it all by yourself. And of course, when the code execution result is in the format of the graph, you can save it as an image file such as a PDF using these commands too. So you can use the PDF function and then generate vectors and plots and close of the PDF and then save your own graph with this grammar. And then finally you can put your trace at the end of your Word file like that. Alright, so today we talk about the vector in detail among data types of R. Please exercise all pages of these slides based on this video clip with enough time and put your old trace in Word file. Of course, you can write down your understanding in your handwriting notes and take photo, and then you can paste in Word file too. Thank you for listening. See you later.